test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2.
Welcome to Jerry's Cafe!
We are a destination cafe and we offer craft food and beverages, meaning we make everything fresh on site when you order. And all of our food and our beverages are prepared and served by adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
And then lastly, just say the name. Tom? There you go. Enjoy. My favorite part of working at Jerry's Cafe is definitely interacting with friends I've met throughout the years and the espresso machine.
My co-founder Amy Philpott and I opened Jerry's Cafe for job opportunities. And a staggering statistic tells us that 80% of adults with disabilities are unemployed. I believe differently, and this is the place where our employees can work and feel proud and contribute and can see that they have value and purpose, and they are given the responsibility that anyone would be given in a job, and we expect nothing less than them to perform at their highest level. So we see great success in every single employee and their independence and their offerings and activities here at Jerry's Cafe.
The large, hot, white chocolate pumpkin pie with whipped cream. It is to die for. It is delicious. It's amazing. Well, the favorite part of working here is that I get to serve customers. I am a cashier. They understand to include people with us with exceptionalities.
I wanted to tell you, I've been watching you today. You're really good at your job. You're doing great.
I always like to serve customers. Customers go first.
We are super proud of our partnership with District 214. District 214 has been a supporter from the very beginning of our foundation, and several of the schools have done fundraising and helped us get our doors open to Jerry's Cafe. Proudly, we have 12 or 13 graduates from the District 214 schools who work at Jerry's Cafe as our active employees.
This is where we do our salad prep. This is where we make all the salads. And then over here is the sandwich line. This is where we make all of our sandwiches. I have worked here since day one. I love it here. I love my supportive team members, and I like serving customers. Here is one chicken Mediterranean trip salad.
We know that our community members have lots of choices, but we're hoping that you will come and choose Jerry's Cafe.
Thank you.
When you come inside and engage with our employees, you feel a sense of joy, and you will start your day feeling the best way that you can, with a joyful heart and knowing that Jerry's Cafe has provided you with delicious coffee, breakfast, or lunch.
All right, welcome to our 55th year of putting together an incredible community service project through our SOS class here at John Hersey High School. As you can see around me, it is organized chaos, but it is an incredible day for our students to serve our community by packaging and collecting food that's going to be going to local food pantries in our area to support those in need.
We're really happy to be able to do the food drive here at Hersey because it really just brings the whole school together, and we are able to help our community and bring the energy with everyone here.
Take it out.
For the past, I would say about 2 months, we've been kind of working together with SOS, Junior Leaders, Baseball, and we've all gathered together. We've done bag and tag with 12 different communities, and we've all come together, and it's really amazing to see the turnout. And then later on, we're going to be visiting 8 local food pantries, and it's really exciting. We're just thankful for everyone who's helped each other along the way. It's been really fun.
It's a team effort, but it's been so fun.
Prospect Marching Knights are heading to D.C.
We're in Washington, D.C.
Prospect Marching Knights were invited to travel to Washington, D.C. this year for Veterans Day. So we're taking the band out to our nation's capital. We're going to do some great tours of some of the monuments and the museums and a lot of the sites of D.C. But it all culminates with performances on Veterans Day. So we've been working really hard to prepare, and we're so excited for our students to have this opportunity. Throughout the trip, we had a few opportunities where veterans would actually see our group of students out and about and spoke to our students. So in addition to touring these places, our students were able to actually interact with a number of veterans over the course of the trip, which kind of made everything a little more real and genuine and authentic. So our first day in DC was really impactful and gave our students sort of a big picture overview of the city and some of the history, and really set the stage for our performance day coming up. So on Veterans Day, our morning started off with a performance at the Lincoln Memorial. There we were, right on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, facing the Washington Monument. Just a really special opportunity for our students to have a really great place to perform.
It was an honor to perform on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial with the PMK, where so much of America's history has taken place.
The experience was very impactful for me. It was a unique opportunity that I have never had before, and it was something that I will cherish for the rest of my life.
One of our students, Emily Pollock, was also asked to deliver a speech at the Lincoln Memorial.
I've always wanted to help people, so I'm going to serve my country. More specifically, I want to become an officer in the military.
Her speech was really wonderful and got a really great reception at the event. In fact, after the event was over, I had a number of veterans come track me down to tell me how great her speech was, and actually they wanted to meet her and take pictures with her because they were so moved by what she had to say.
My father served in the Navy, and so he instilled in me the value of serving and caring for our veterans and those who serve us. And so being able to thank them today and place medals around their shoulders and welcome them home was really impactful for me as well.
United States Air Force.
It was an honor to play at the World War II Memorial today. It was such an honor because music is a way to share emotions without using words.
Our performances in DC got a lot of really good responses. One of them, a story was told to me by one of our chaperones, that there was literally a Marine veteran who was at a performance at the Iwo Jima Memorial who was literally in tears watching the performance and just expressed to our chaperone how much it meant to him that this group of teenagers from the Chicago area had come out there and was performing, and he was just really moved by it, and I thought that was just a really neat story to hear coming out of the performance. So any trip like this takes a lot of time and energy to put together. I feel really fortunate that our school was very supportive of this endeavor. We had a bunch of parents who traveled with us and did anything they could to make this a great experience for our students. I'm so glad we were able to bring our students to DC. Veterans Day seemed like a perfect time to bring them, and it really, just in the end, I think the whole trip turned out really, really great, and I'm so happy we were able to make it happen.
Super excited to have the 9/11 Never Forget mobile exhibit here at Hersey High School. As the truck arrived, we had Hersey parents out front with some patriotic balloons. We had Hersey students lining the sidewalks. We had some, mini American flags like they would show on the honor flights. The spirit was high.
Good morning. I'd like to welcome you to the Stephen Siller Tunnel of Towers mobile exhibit. We have a 50-foot trailer, approximately 1,100 square feet exhibit. We travel our nation to commemorate the brave sacrifice of the firefighters, police officers that gave their life that day in the greatest rescue and recovery effort in our nation's history.
The reason we're here is at Hersey High School to come educate our youth on the happenings of that day, but also the happenings of the days after, and to let them know that it was a huge tragedy. It was the single largest loss of life day we've ever had. It was also the largest rescue we've ever had as well, but just all the good that has come from that tragic day. And they're going to learn things that they can't read about. They're going to hear stories that some have never been told, some have been told many times.
Stephen Siller was one of the 343 firefighters that died that morning. He was getting off duty that morning. He was going to play golf with his older brothers. Heard the plane strike, heard on the news that the plane struck the building, turned around, drove back to his firehouse, Squad 1, located in downtown Brooklyn. They had already been dispatched to the disaster. He got his gear, drove his own truck to the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel, where he donned 60 pounds of gear, ran 2.5 miles through the tunnel, mustered up with the rest of the firefighters, and gave his life that day, honoring his oath that he took to protect life and property.
So this is about remembering. So we want people to remember, obviously, for adults to remember and for the kids to learn. So we don't want this forgotten. It's not taught in most schools in America. And they have the privilege of talking to people who are there. You know, we can't talk to people who were in the Civil War or these other moments in American history, but they can. And I think that's pretty special. Thanks for having us, and this means more to us than you. This means a lot to these kids. And these kids would be great. They're very respectful, they listen. It's nice to see.
A special thanks, especially to the FDNY crew, to the Silver Foundation, to Soldiers Journey Home, to District 214, to all of Hershey. I'm grateful for everybody. A special shout out to Bill Dustin for the Magic Spirit. Special shout out to Chief Harris, Arlington Heights Police. The coolest part about this project was there's like a whole bunch of people that were on it and did it. It wouldn't have happened without a whole bunch of people. The list is just too long, and to me, that's actually a good thing to celebrate.
This is the Rolling Meadows Band alumni event, so we decided to get the band back together. This year being the 40th anniversary of the Jazz and Meadows Festival, so it was kind of an opportunity to, hey, can we bring people back at homecoming? I had talked to some of the previous band directors, so that's Len King in the 70s, 80s, early 90s. We have Bill Jastrow and David Boggs from the 90s. And then of course, Chris Booty, who retired several years ago. Those people set the foundation for everything that we have here.
I'm giving you a hug if that's okay. Oh my God, look at you.
I'd have paid money to be here tonight. I really would have. It's one of those things I'd pay money to be here. This is the band reunion where your closest friends were really at in high school. And so you're with your closest friends and regrouping after 40-something years and going, holy cow.
Yeah. Mr. King is the reason why I'm here today, not just at the school, but what I do in life. I owe everything to Mr. King. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't have gone to college. And if I hadn't gone to college, who knows what I would be doing.
You know, some of the stuff that we're doing right now is like we never stop doing it, you know, just to be around these guys again and just hanging out. 40 years seems like a long time, but it seems like it's kind of a short time too, you know.
This is fantastic. I mean, I knew it was going to be good, but not this good. 52 of my actual students are in this group. I get a lot of feedback from them telling me how much they enjoyed the music program with me and how they appreciate music for their life. That's really special because to know that they are still thinking about me and what we did here, it's just very satisfying.
Well, I flew back and I'm glad I did, you know, especially to see Mr. King. He meant a lot to us. He just brought in the jazz and I mean, we had world class, you know, experience that most kids never would have had, you know, a real depth of exposure to great music because of Mr. King. So I'm glad I got to see him.
It's so fun to be back though. I love it. My family's here. They're so excited.
So is my family.
Yeah.
My son's here, my husband's here, so
Yeah.
it's really great.
If you are on the fence of coming, debating about whether to come or not, you should definitely come next time. It feels like a long time ago, but in some ways like you never left. Like I'm like, okay, we're gonna go march over to the stadium and we're gonna play for the football team. So yeah, okay.
you to all the alumni who are coming here today. I mean, some people are traveling across the country. I know one of the directors came from Arizona. And that's a testament to really what this event is about, and it's bringing people together through our shared love of music and how music has changed our lives and shaped who we are as humans.
Alumni, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to call to order the business meeting of Township High School District 214 Board of Education for Thursday, August 21st, 2025. Ms. Marini, could you please call the roll?
Baldino? Here. Chung?
Here.
Dustling?
Here.
Fiorito?
Here.
Heineman?
Present.
Sager?
Here.
Kreutzer?
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Next, we have closed session. Can I have a motion to go into closed session for the purpose of discussing the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, specific individuals who serve as independent contractors in an educational setting, or legal counsel for the public body? Motion and a second, please.
Oh, so moved.
Second, Baldino?
There's been a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Dustling?
Yes.
Baldino? Yes. Chung?
Yes.
Fiorito?
Yes.
Heineman?
Aye.
Sager?
Aye.
Kreutzer?
Aye. We are now in closed session. We will
Motion carries
return
7-0.
approximately 7 o'clock. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we have reconvened from open session, and we're going to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and if you could stay standing, we have a moment of silence after the pledge. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. District 214 has a long history of celebrating student and staff achievements, and unfortunately, times come where we have to celebrate the lives of those that are cut far too short. Tonight, we pause to honor the memory of Jennifer Welter, who recently passed away. Jennifer was a longtime member of the District 214 family, having graduated from Rolling Meadows High School before embarking on a career in education. During her 20 years career at Prospect High School as a science teacher, she dedicated herself to creating authentic learning opportunities. She even engaged once to bring a literal menagerie of fruit bats, parrots, skunks, a chameleon, and a gecko so that zoology students could have a real-life learning observation experiment in the classroom. This kind of creative and student-centered thinking made her a valued member of the District 214 community and an extremely valued member of Prospect High School's staff. So I ask that you please join me with your thoughts and express and share in our gratitude for Jennifer's contribution and the time and energy and love that her family gave to District 214 and Prospect High School. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Next, we have a dedication, a special dedication, and let me read this. Harold Slickenmeyer arrived in the northwest suburbs in the mid-1940s, and by 1948 was a guidance counselor at Arlington High School. He served as an officer for the Arlington Cardinals Booster Club and was a member of the Lions Club. Woohoo! He became superintendent in 1954. While Slickenmeyer was superintendent, he served on the original steering committee that created Harper College, and in the early 1960s was a member of an advisory council for Northwestern University. During his tenure here, the district experienced a period of rapid growth. Prospect High School opened in '57, Forest View in '62, Wheeling in '64, and Elk Grove was set to open just weeks after his retirement in August of '66. In 1966, the board renamed the former Administration Center, which is now occupied by NSSEO, the Harold Slickenmeyer Administration Center, just a few months before his retirement. In 1986, Forest View High School was closed, the building we're in today. An architect was hired to relocate the Administration Center to the Forest View campus. In 1988, the new boardroom there was named in his honor. We are here today to rededicate this new space to Superintendent Slickenmeyer. After almost 2 years, we are here today to celebrate the new location of the Board of Education room with a ribbon-cutting ceremony. Anyone new to the district would not know that we are standing in what was once a courtyard where a family of ducks would take up residence for a few years. About a year and a half ago, a committee was formed to revamp this space. As you see today, there are panels outlining the history of District 214, as well as a plaque outside this room honoring Mr. Slickenmeyer. I have a gift for his granddaughter, who's here today. If you would like to say a few words, I welcome you up to the podium.
Hi, I'm very happy to be here today. I'm Nancy Slickenmeyer, and yes, granddaughter of Harold Slickenmeyer. And I grew up in Indianapolis, but I live in Evanston now, so it was easy for me to come and be with you this evening for the rededication. I remember a little bit visiting my parents in Arlington Heights, but kind of barely. But then after they retired, they traveled all over the U.S. and then moved to Mesa, Arizona. And so we visited them a lot while they lived there, which was lovely. And then they moved to be near my parents in Zionsville for quite a few years before my grandparents both died in a retirement community. But we had a very long, lovely, loving relationship. So anyway, nice to be here. Thank you.
Okay, board members, you want to join me in the front? Nancy, you want to come join us? Both of us, yes. One, where are you? Okay, look there first. 1, 2, 3. There you go. I also have a certificate regarding the rededication. You want to? Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. Yes. And next on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Does anyone wish to pull anything from the consent agenda?
Yes, I do. Item 13.3. Nope, I'm sorry.
From consent, Mr. Dustling.
No, that's okay.
Okay,
That's coming up under roll call action.
okay, great. Can I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda, please?
So moved.
Seconded?
We have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Sager,
Aye.
Baldino,
Yes.
Chung,
Yes.
Dustling,
Yes.
Fiorito,
Yes.
Heineman,
Yes.
Kreutzer.
Aye, thank you.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, item 8, approval of the minutes from the open and closed meeting of August 7th, 2025. Motion and a second, please.
So moved, Fiorito.
Second, Heineman.
Call the roll.
Fiorito,
Yes.
Heineman,
Aye.
Baldino,
Yes.
Chung,
Yes.
Dustling,
Yes.
Sager,
Aye.
and Kreutzer.
Aye,
Motion carries 7-0.
thank you. Next on the agenda is board recognition. Mr. Maggi, please.
There we go. Good evening. Dr. Rowe, tonight we recognize the City of Rolling Meadows for its valuable support of our internship program. Would you, Board President Kreutzer and Board Member Heidemann, please join me for partner recognition? I would also like to invite forward Mayor Lara Sonoyka, Finance Director Molly Talkington, City Manager Rob Sabo, and Deputy Information Officer Kelly Vlieger. If you could please join us. Right over here, yeah. The City of Rolling Meadows has been a steadfast partner in providing work-based learning opportunities to District 214 students throughout the year. In every fall, spring, and summer session, they open their doors to multiple students, giving them hands-on experience in finance, technology, and city management. Their supervisors guide, mentor, and encourage our students and often put in extra hours to ensure their success. Their commitment to youth career development has created fantastic opportunities for students to gain real-world experience, explore career paths, and build the skills they need for future success. Beyond internships, the city also supports our skilled trades fair with engineering and public works teams showing students what careers in those fields can look like. We are deeply grateful for this partnership, and we look forward to continuing it for many, many years to come. Thank you again.
Thank you so much for those kind words and to the board. The City of Rolling Meadows, my name is Lara Sonoyka. I'm the mayor of the City of Rolling Meadows, and I'm here with my staff to receive this recognition. For us, we believe that local government is an extraordinarily viable career path for all of our students at District 214 schools. It's not only an opportunity to be able to be creative, it's not only an opportunity to have an impact in their local communities where they live and work, but it's also a financially smart move. This is a type of work where you are able to see how much a job costs. You're able to see like what you can be paid because all of this information is public. It's very transparent. And there's also included growth for many of the positions as well. So we hope that all of the interns that worked with us will continue to be curious about local government and know that they will always have partners, supporters, and mentors with the City of Rolling Meadows. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is public comment. There he is. And we have two people that have signed up. Before I call the first person up, I'm going to read this. The Board of Education and District value comments from the community at our meetings as well as emails. We appreciate everyone appearing before the board and treat all with courtesy and respect. The Board of Education asks each person to please limit all of their comments to 3 minutes. However, several people want to address the board on a similar topic. The board president may limit the time to 2 minutes per person. Public comments agenda item only at this time, that the Board of Education will have public comments during this meeting. Although comments may be made on almost any matter related to the operations of schools, comments will not be allowed identifying individual students or staff members. As this is the Board of Education business meeting, the practice not to respond to public questions or comments at this time because this is not an open-ended forum. However, we do listen carefully. If requested, a written response will be provided. Please ensure that Ms. Marini, who's down to my right here, has your full name and address for a response. To be fair and consistent to all addressing the board, the same protocols and procedures must be in place for everyone. At the podium, the green light indicates your time has started, the yellow light indicates 30 seconds remaining, and the red light indicates 3 minutes have expired. Lee Bennett, could you please come forward to the microphone and clearly state your name for the minutes?
Hello, board, staff, and community. I'm Lee Bennett, a competitor.
As an advocate for boys volleyball, I might come across as someone fighting for boys over girls. Rather, my desire is to win market share for volleyball in the arena of school sports. I see the sport as a better vehicle for teaching students the many lessons of team sports. Basketball is a formidable competitor with home court advantage. The world's best come here to play in the NBA. Our top volleyball pros are playing far away in Poland and Italy, much like the top soccer players are in the UK's Premier League. In this attention economy, the opposing conglomerate of multi-billion-dollar franchises continues to grow by marketing to girls and women. The counterattack from team volleyball is to engage more boys and men. The world of collegiate sports is changing this year. The news often incorrectly reports that football and basketball are the two revenue-generating sports. Actually, basketball is not an NCAA sport. Men's basketball generates revenue for many schools. Women's basketball does not reliably produce profits for any school. The only women's sport that some university programs have made profitable is volleyball, something your Power Ad partnership should consider. At our schools, boys basketball and girls volleyball are very popular and universally available. So the battle between these two sports is boys volleyball and girls basketball. In our MSL athletic conference, basketball leads with a score of 10 teams to 8. It's time for volleyball to score another team. Outside the technicalities of Title IX regulations, basketball and volleyball are two sports, not four. Each builds a community of players of both sexes, and they support each other's teams. In this district, student interest in volleyball is second place only to soccer. Basketball finished 5th. Since D214 has the smallest schools in the conference, its metrics determine how many teams are appropriate for each sport. 9 volleyball teams is more sustainable than 10 basketball teams. Policies favoring basketball over volleyball are not fair to the girls. Why should the sport that they prefer have only 8 teams when the sport the boys prefer gets 10? Please expand our volleyball program to better align with student interests, teach additional boys, and support a sport that the girls love. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Brian Carlson, please. Good evening.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Brian Carlson. I am proud to say I've almost been a lifelong resident of Arlington Heights. I grew up here, went to Prospect High School, went to Windsor Elementary School, went to South Middle School. I have 3 daughters. One is currently at Prospect, 2 are currently at South Middle School. I'll tell you, my mom worked in District 214 Community Ed for about 10 years. And then she worked at Rolling Meadows High School for another 15. My brother taught at Rolling Meadows High School for many years. My very first job when I was in middle school was actually a D214 employee working coat checks at the senior dances that they used to put on at Hersey High School. So I mention all that because my ties run deep within the community here and also deep within District 214. I'm here specifically to talk about a concern that we've recently run across, which is Prospect Girls Feeder Basketball Program. And bear with me, I'm going to read specifically what I wanted to talk to everybody about here. My passion runs very deep within athletics. I played sports growing up my entire life. I played sports through my collegiate years. All 3 of my daughters are active in many different sports: soccer, basketball, softball, gymnastics, cheer, lacrosse, tennis, you name it, across the board. I'm here specifically though to talk about the Prospect Feeder Program and really an issue that we've encountered over the past week. If you're unfamiliar with the feeder program, it's been around, the girls basketball feeder program specifically, it's been around for about 30 years. It's an incredible program. Our mission is to provide girls with a chance to play organized basketball in an environment that emphasizes learning, teamwork, fun, and a healthy competition. Just as importantly, the program helps these future PHS classmates form lasting relationships and strengthen their connection to the school community. Our program is a non-for-profit organization, and 100% of the families we service live within the PHS boundaries. We're all parents, we get it, we all want what's in the best interest of our kids, and that's why I'm here today. I sent to all the board members an individual email today with much more details. My writing in email is much more eloquent than my speaking in public, so I would tell you to reference an email with some of the details. But we got a challenge that we're coming across, and that's the feeder basketball team program, which I'm the director of, is really looking for help and guidance from all of you up here with the challenge that we're facing. Unlike other District 214 schools, Prospect has limited space and is unable to provide our program any gym space for practices. Over the years, we've been able to utilize the 3 gyms here at Forest View, the field house, the north gym, and also the smaller south gym to get all of our practices in. And we've been told now that's not an option for us. And that's a major challenge because now our program, which is supposed to start next month, doesn't have any room to practice. These 80 families that are part of the program now, we are struggling figuring out where we're going to be able to practice for these kids for the Junior Nights program. So I'm hopeful we can work together. I'm an open book. I'm hopeful we can work together to find a solution to the problem, which is helping these kids find practice space. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all that's signed up for public comment. Next is the superintendent's report. Dr. Rowe, please.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kreutzer. Just a couple of things I would like to highlight. Obviously, we're a weekend, back to school. We had an extremely successful launch of the 25-26 school year, from opening day with staff to the first week of classes. The energy and momentum across our schools has been strong, and it's been very clear that we're starting off on a positive note, which I'm incredibly proud of. And a huge shout out to our staff for making that happen for our students. Second topic just to highlight is tonight's a big night for us. We represent an important milestone where we are going to finally, seems like we've been talking about it forever, present our metrics to you for approval that puts the bow on a year's worth of work. Thousands of voices, including our teachers, staff, students, and families, helping build this future 214 in our path over the course of the next 5 years. As we now formally shift from the planning phase to the 5-year implementation phase of Future 214, the plan is organized around 4 goals, as you know: inspire, connect, align, and innovate. Each area includes measurable strategies with clear accountability that we are very proud to transparently share those metrics and partner with you as we monitor our progress with regular updates that I'll give a little bit more detail about. Every school and every department will have a hand in bringing them to life, and the plan will be dynamic and responsive and very much alive. In the next 5 years, we'll focus on action, impact, and results, and we're extremely excited to enter this next chapter from a position of strength in this incredible school district with so many amazing opportunities for our kids. We're looking to really take our district from great to exceptional. And then finally, something new to highlight that I'm very excited to announce. It just went live this week that we have a new event, for a first ever event to reflect our commitment to transparency and community partnership. On Friday, September 19th, the first ever State of the District Luncheon will be held in this room. The program will highlight early implementation steps for Future 214 and reflect on the past year. Community partners, families, stakeholders are invited to hear where we're headed and how they can get involved in supporting the district and celebrating our success. I look forward to continuing that conversation there. Tickets are available to anyone who'd like to attend and on the district website if they'd like to join us. So look forward to a really great event. Hopefully it becomes an annual tradition. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rowe. Board member updates. Mr. Dusling, would you like to start?
Sure. You know, each summer I get my fine arts fix by going to the summer musical, and then I attend the high school's marching band practices. I'm always amazed at how they get out there in the heat and practice and can go from one set to another while playing the instruments and walking along, marching along. I look forward to seeing them in their when they finalize their setups in the fall. I was on Scotland for vacation and came back, and I found out on the way over that there was a graduate from Hersey High School, Morgan de Jong, who is now Morgan Cavendish. She's an associate producer with a theatrical company. And she and the group that she was, and their actors, put on a satirical musical comedy. It was called Operation Destroy Beth Jesus. And obviously that's a play on Jeff Bezos, but It was really an audience play-along. They did a marvelous job. It was just marvelous. I got to talk with her afterwards. She's a 2004 graduate of Hershey, and it was delightful to see her there participating and living her life stream. On a personal note, a week ago, 57 years ago, I came home from Vietnam and met my wife in San Francisco. I've studied that period since that time, and I still don't know what happened. It was amazing, but it was what it was. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dussing. Dr. Sager?
So I didn't report out last meeting. We had our NSSEO meeting the night before our prior meeting, so I'm just going to give a brief report of that. So a one-year contract extension for Superintendent Schnorr was approved by the governing board. This is going to be a retirement contract, so she is set to retire in 2027 with a possible one-year extension, depending on how things are going with her and with the board at that point. There was also a salary adjustment to the facilities director contract to bring, we know there's a lot of facilities work to be done at NSSEO, to bring him in line with other districts. And the big discussion was around the NSSEO governance structure. We have a discussion item. I sent you all the information about that, and so I assume we'll cover that during the discussion. And then I attended the first day of school at Elk Grove, which was exciting because I got a hug from my senior and my sophomore as they came in, and that was very nice. I was also very pleased to see a representative of our bus company there, checking to make sure that the buses were coming and all meeting their routes. So that was very nice to see. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Fiorito?
I'll piggyback off Joe a little bit. I got to do the opening day at Hershey. I just want to say I got a lot more fist bumps than the principal did. Right, Heath? That was a blast. It really is. I mean, two best things about being a board member: opening day, giving kids high fives, and closing day and giving a kid his diploma. That's really what being a board member makes you happy to be a board member. I started the year off by attending a couple of PTC meetings, one at Hershey. Heath, you did a great job, as usual. And then last night I went to Buffalo Grove. I got to sit and listen to 35 minutes of parents not happy with the parking situation. Am I right? Yes. But I do want to give Jeff credit for owning the situation. I thought he did a great job. But more importantly, he shared with the parents that were present, and there were quite a few, some of the improvements that Buffalo Grove had. 6% increase in their math scores, 17.5% on their ELA scores, 17.5%. Just think about that. An increase of 5% in the co-curricular participation. And last but not least, 87% of the students that took AP classes received a grade of 3 or better. So something to be proud of in Bison Nation. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Chung?
Yes, thank you. I would just want to highlight a few events. First, in mid-July, Mr. Heineman and I had a chance to go on building tours at Prospect, Rolling Meadows, and Elk Grove High School. So special thanks to Annetta, 1,000 thanks to you, as well as at Prospect, Greg Minter, Frank, George, Dania, and Jenna. At Rolling Meadows, Megan, Scott, and Eric, and at Elk Grove, Paul. So we really appreciate not only your time in showing us the buildings, but obviously all the work you do to make sure that our spaces are safe and clean and running properly for our students. So thank you. Second, a couple weeks ago, I attended a Rotary Club meeting at Mount Prospect where Barb Kane and Kathy Gannon from our Center for Career Discovery came, and they presented about our career pathways and work-based learning opportunities through internships and apprenticeships. They were fantastic, very well received, and so hopefully from that, they were able to build some additional partnerships. Also, yesterday, I attended a lunch meet and greet with Susanna Mendoza. It was hosted by the Korean International Cooperation Agency. So they invited Comptroller Mendoza to meet some local Korean American elected officials and leaders So that's why I'm sharing it now. They only invited me because I'm here on the board and I'm Korean American. It was actually a wonderful opportunity to talk with her, and I did invite her to our State of the District luncheon, so hopefully she's able to come. Lastly, I had the opportunity to join other board members and staff at Hersey's ribbon cutting. I attended Hersey's TPC meeting with Frank, and I had the privilege of welcoming students at Prospect on their first day of school.
Thank you. Ms. Baldino?
Well, in addition to the tours, which were much appreciated, Mr. Fiorito and I had a very good time and learned a ton of new things about the buildings in our districts. I had the honor of welcoming students with our new Principal Hawkins at Wheeling High School. And it was a fantastic experience, high energy, great to see all the students, even the terrified freshmen who were very lost sometimes. Yeah, and there was some great video, so if you haven't seen that on the District 214 social media channel, go take a look at it. And I'm going to make a plug for the foundation event that's coming up on September 5th. If anybody is a golfer, I'm not, please come out and join the foundation.
I think they said they just sold their last bay today.
They did. Yeah, to me.
Yeah. To you? Oh. Mr. Heineman, anything you want to?
Just pretty much echoing everything you've heard. It's very exciting to get this school year rolling.
Thank you. Thanks to staff at Rolling Meadows, I was there greeting the kids on the first day, and yes, I stood next to Scott Shilton. It's his first year over there, and then a representative from the bus company, and how he was looking at his app, making sure that where the buses were on time. So it was a great opening. And then I shot over to Buffalo Grove. Jeff had all the students in the stadium at 9 o'clock, and they did a wonderful job. Everybody's really excited. And then Monday, I was here for the Wild Stang kickoff. They have a barbecue style dinner for the students. We have 75 students, so the program is full. And then we went in the theater, and we had a PowerPoint presentation about Wild Stang, what's expected, and so on and so forth. A lot of parent involvement in Wild Stang. So wish them luck this year. They have 2 robots now, and we'll see how that goes. Thank you, board members, very active.
If I could just add one little thing on, piggyback on Mr. Fiorito, the point that you made, tremendous growth at Buffalo Grove, we're very proud of it. But the AP numbers that you shared, I just want to share as a district, we gave over 1,000 more AP exams in 24-25 than the year prior. And as a district, 85% of our students across the district scored a 3 or better. The state average is 65%. So tremendous things happening. Huge shout out to our teachers and great appreciation for the work that happens in the classroom to make that possible. But I think they did extremely well at Buffalo Grove, but across the district, they performed very well. Very proud of them.
Dr. Rowe, did you want to talk about your meeting with the state superintendent, a little bit about that?
I can, sure. As you may have seen in the newspaper recently, the state of Illinois has been working for the past 18 months to adjust benchmarks. The state kind of arbitrarily set benchmarks many years ago very high, to the point where the benchmarks are at about the top third students across the state would be meeting state standards. And it told a story that was really inaccurate of what college and career readiness looks like. And actually that began in this district when Dr. Lopez visited ISB and sparked a discussion with them, because we were graduating students with 15 college credit hours, tremendous success in AP and dual credit courses, who were not meeting this arbitrary benchmark that the state set. So it was a fairly controversial, because anytime it looks like you're lowering the benchmark for success, it looks as if you're trying to lower the bar to make yourself look better, when in all reality, it was placing it in line with what reality is of what success in high school translates to success in college. And it captured a lot more of our students who have proven to be successful in college courses while with us. And the benchmark, I believe, are more in line with what reality is. I believe it will boost student confidence in their abilities. It'll boost conversations that families have in terms of the options that are at their disposal and if their child is ready for college or not. And I think it communicates some of the success and tells the story and allows you really to tell the story that students are much, much more than a test score. I think that's maybe prudent in light of the new U.S. News and World Report that comes out ranking high schools. We're very proud that we have 4 of our 6 high schools are ranked in the top 100, and all 6 of our high schools are ranked in the top 20% of schools across the state. But our kids are much more than a test score that those rankings provide. So I think that was the moral of the story, and it was a difficult move, but I do commend Dr. Sanders for making the adjustment because I think it more accurately reflects the reality of quality in our schools.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So we are at the consent agenda, and no one has pulled any items from the consent agenda. So can I have a motion and a second to please approve the consent agenda items?
So moved.
Second, Chung.
There's been a motion and a second. Please call a roll.
Heineman,
Aye.
Chung,
Yes.
Baldino,
Yes.
Dustling,
Yes.
Fiorito,
Yes.
Sager,
Aye.
and Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, we now on roll call items, and we have the first one, 1411.
All right, the most exciting agenda
Dr.
item on of the night.
Let me have a motion in a second,
Okay.
please. Go ahead.
So
Hold the
moved.
excitement.
Fiorito.
Second, Sager.
Go ahead.
All right, now on to the good stuff. So we've been waiting for this a long time, and just to set the stage for anyone in our audience who has not been as engaged with this, is that we decided to approve the strategic plan in April so that the board members that began the process were able to approve our path forward before we welcomed 3 new members. But the reality of that didn't allow us to have the process completely finished to share the 5-year projections and the metrics we're going to hold ourselves accountable to. So we worked all over the course of the summer. As you'll hear from each of the goal leads as they share the metrics in their goals tonight, with their strategy teams as well as with Jeffrey and Mr. Smith in our research and development department, as well as our partner, Rebecca Davis with Deliver Ed. So I want to walk through high level, just a kind of a high level of the process we follow again and update, get our minds back toward the plan. And then we'll cover the role of the board, and then I'll pass it off to our goal leads to share the progress. So what you approved was a 5-year projection of where we're going, this Future 214, that is centered around the portrait of a graduate. And the portrait of a graduate, as you may remember on the right-hand side of your screen, are the 8 competencies that we are going to work to infuse within our students through our instructional vision and try and bring out in the classroom on a daily basis to help not only just the academic growth side of things, but the whole child and the human side, the human development person that's ready for life beyond high school. On the left-hand side is more the roadmap that has the vision of where we're heading as a district, using data and the aspirational beliefs that are captured in the red of how we're going to make tough decisions, how we're going to center all of our decisions on students, and value the equity and inclusivity that are alive and well in our classrooms today, the path that we're going. So our plan is broken out into 4 goal areas that are aligned with inspiring the learning in the classroom, connecting in terms of creating a sense of belonging for our students, staff, and community members in our schools, aligning the district, which is developing the systems that we have found is an integral area of focus for us, and then finally getting to play a little bit and dreaming about what high school can be on the innovating side through Goal 4. So now we'll actually review the board's role, and just as a reminder, Rebecca went over this when she presented, was with us. Your role from the balcony, from the high level, is to hold us accountable to the progress that we're committing to making to this evening. We will update you twice over the course of the year, in January and then again in July. And throughout that time, we will be participating in what we call stock takes. The first one coming up is in September, where Ms. Kraft will update me with her team on progress in Goal 4, and then we shift in each month that particular goal with their strategy leads will share what progress they're making toward achieving those goals. It's a built-in structure that helps us remain accountable to progress so that we're ready for you in January. Then come January, I'll be back and we'll present the progress on the progress we're making toward the priorities that they're going to lay out for you this evening. So with that, I'm going to kick it over to Dr. Hubbard and allow him to walk through Goal 1, which is our most comprehensive in terms of the metrics, as our academic goal.
Thank you, Dr. Rowe, and thank you for the opportunity to present tonight to the board. I would like to also echo what Dr. Rowe said, that Jeffrey Smith and the Research and Evaluation Department and his team have been integral in terms of helping gather all of the data that was used to inform the strategic plan, provided many, many opportunities for us to dig into data as we talked about setting specific goals and action steps, and obviously his team has been instrumental in putting together what metrics we're actually going to track and then the projections, and his team will be responsible for helping us continue to take tests along the way to figure out how our progress is and make adjustments to the goals and also make adjustments to the metrics as necessary. As Dr. Rowe talked about, ISBE threw us a welcomed curveball last week, and so you'll see that we have the years past data with respect to the SAT and ACT, and we have set goals based on the old benchmarks, and so we will obviously do a deep dive and evaluate where we're at given the new benchmarks and likely bring back to the board updated goals and metrics around the ACT, but I'll talk about what we have here tonight. Just to refresh your memory on Goal 1A, we have 3 specific strategies that we're looking at. The first is around instruction, and really the year 1 work around Goal 1A, or Strategy 1A rather, is for us to develop an instructional vision that really allows us to bring to life the District 214 Portrait of a Graduate. And we have a comprehensive project plan that has been put together by Jill Lavacek, our Director of Curriculum and Equitable Practices, and that work and that committee is going to be convened in the coming weeks, and we've got a plan to, by December, really unveil an instructional vision that will allow us then to talk about instructional practices to allow the Portrait of a Graduate work and competencies and skills to come to life. And then the curriculum standards alignment work that actually began last year, and our plan is to develop and roll out a comprehensive curriculum review cycle that hasn't been developed yet, and that's a project plan that I will be leading in tandem with Ms. Lavacek, and we will roll out a curriculum review cycle and then see where the work that was done around freshman core curriculum last year with standards alignment, the work around math with our feeder programs and MCMI, how that fits into that curriculum review cycle. But that curriculum review cycle will inform our standards alignment. It will inform our procurement of resources for the courses. It'll allow us to talk about assessments and how we're assessing student learning. And so we're really excited for both of those two things, the instructional vision and the curriculum review cycle. Strategy 1B really talks about the support that we provide staff, and so in the fall here we're doing a comprehensive evaluation of how our current professional development and professional learning program aligns to the strategic plan, and then once we have that instructional vision articulated in December, the real work begins for our professional learning department, talking about what professional development we can provide our staff to make sure that they are equipped with the resources and the tools to be able to execute that instructional vision. And then lastly is really in tandem with Ms. Kendrick and Student Services, is talking about the transitions. And so the transition between 8th grade and 9th grade, and then the transition from District 214 into whatever's next for our students, and talking about streamlining registration processes, but also bridge programs for students for 8th to 9th grade to make sure that they're prepared to be successful, and continuing the things that really this district has built incredibly well over many, many years. And that's the ability for us to equip our students with the skills, the credits, the confidence to transition for what's beyond high school. And so that's really the kind of a snapshot of what district or what Goal 1 looks like. And then as we talked about metrics for Goal 1, we've landed on 5 specific things that I think allow us to both get in the weeds and talk about student achievement and student learning, but also see the big picture. We tried to be diverse and inclusive in terms of the metrics that we selected. And so you'll see some of these are based on student surveys with respect to their perception of rigor, but then also ACT, also the growth and the progress of our EL students, and also how well we're doing equipping our students with those all-important 15 credits before they leave. There's a lot of research that would suggest that a student that leaves us with 15 post-secondary credits really has a much more has a much higher success rate, not only matriculating into post-secondary experience, but also persisting and completing that post-secondary experience. And so that's the story behind the selection of that metric. So the first one here is really something that we dug into was the 5 Essentials survey, and I know that the 5 Essentials survey can tell a lot of different stories, but specifically they have 2 areas that we wrestled with. One is called academic press, and that's really the student's perception of how much support and push they get from their teachers to be persistent in the classroom. We looked at the individual questions there, and that initially caught our eye, but then where we really honed in on was a supplemental measure that's measured in 5 Essentials, and that's called classroom rigor. And the reason that we selected specifically classroom rigor is, number one, it's student perception and student voice, and I think it's really important that we continue to I think, highlight and elevate student voice throughout the course of building the strategic plan, but also in the process of carrying out the strategic plan. And some of the questions that are asked in the 5 Essentials survey for students around classroom rigor is that they feel as though their teacher often connects their learning to their life outside the classroom. So I think that speaks about 2 things. One is rigor, and certainly that's the research-driven 5 Essentials says that is an indicator of rigor, but more importantly, I think it is a really good indicator of engagement. When students feel like their learning is connected to their lives outside the classroom, it results in a much higher engagement. Some of the other questions that inform that classroom rigor metric are, my teacher often requires me to explain my answer, and my teacher often encourages us to consider different solutions and different perspectives, and then talk about and discuss different solutions and different perspectives. So I think that really encompasses something that we want to continue to see a positive trend, and you can see we've been tracking this over the last couple of years. We've seen a positive uptick in the last 3 years, and we want to continue that in a manner that allows us to eventually get to, as you can see, we're starting with this past year at our baseline that we're calling 69, and that's just a metric that they give us in 5 Essentials. And then our hope is to get it to 82. I think one of the struggles with this potential metric is that they re-norm these tests periodically, and so they re-norm it so that there's a standard curve throughout the state, and so it could potentially become a little bit of a moving goalpost. But our hope is to really hone in on and be explicit through the language that we developed in the instructional vision and the instructional practices that we utilize, that we're talking to students about their learning, and students are responding and talking to us about their learning. And I think that'll allow them to perceive and to realize real increase in rigor. And I think some of those questions that then are asked, that how we're connecting their learning experiences to their life outside of school, I think we will continue to see. And so there might be some ambition in the selection of this goal and the metrics that we selected over the next 5 years, but it's something that we hold very near and dear, because we know a rigorous experience in the classroom is really important, and really drill it down beyond the rigorous experience. It's really about student engagement. And so hopefully that will then inform goal number 2, or metric number 2, and that is talking about more of the academic outcomes. And so number 2 and number 3 both relate to the ACT. It is something that we are going to have to revisit in the short term, given the new benchmarks that the state has unveiled. But the first one that we selected is ELA, and we weren't sure at one point. The SAT used to give you an ELA score The ACT has an English and a reading and a writing section, and then it gives you those 3 tests for juniors and form an ELA composite. And we were kind of waiting to see what the state was going to do, and the state did agree upon an ELA metric and not either an English and or a reading. And so I think Jeffrey and his team forecasted that correctly and built an ELA goal that for juniors will encompass their performance on the spring ACT their junior year in reading, English, and writing. And then for our 9th and 10th graders who take the pre-ACT 9, pre-ACT 10, there is no writing component. So that ELA score is a combination of their reading and their English score. And so one of the things that I think we want and we expect to see an increase and an uptick in our ACT performance. The state has put us in a I think, a great position now with the new benchmarks, but over the last couple years, a difficult position in terms of identifying academic outcomes, switching from the SAT to the ACT. We had the ACT for a year. Now we're going to switch the benchmarks on the ACT, and then there's going to be a newer version of the ACT rolled out. And so as it has gone from paper to digital, from SAT to ACT, student outcomes academically in ELA and math have been hard to pinpoint and hard to predict and set goals around, but I think what we've done is put together a set of goals that we're excited about and that we think are both aspirational but also attainable. And what we commit to both with the ELA goal here and with the math goal, which is the next slide, is to reevaluate the benchmarks and the numbers that we've selected to make sure that we understand truly where we are given the newer benchmarks and then what we believe that we can attain. And the hope is that with the benchmarks being recalibrated, and I think rightfully so, we should actually see an increase of students that are achieving those benchmarks. And so we don't want to set the bar too low, and so we will likely come back with a more aspirational and different numbers, and we'll certainly update the board as we get those calculated. The state is going to come out with some guidance around the new benchmarks, and we will allow that to help inform kind of where we're at and where we think we'll be able to go in the next 5 years. The next benchmark, number 4, is something that a number of people in the district are incredibly passionate about and has taken a lot of work in our research and evaluation department to wrap our heads around. But to make sure that we're measuring the progress of our multilingual learners on their language acquisition, our EL population has grown, as you all know, significantly over the last few years. We are slated to give just under 2,500 access tests in February. So that's 2,500 of our students are in our language learning program. And what we want to do is make sure that our instructional practices and our professional learning and our programs to meet the needs of those students is hitting the target and increasing their language acquisition. And so we wrestled as a committee a lot around how we measure academic progress of our multilingual learners. And for a lot of reasons, we didn't believe that the ACT was the right metric. And so we, with our director of EL services and our new assistant director of EL services, along with Jeffrey and his team, sat and talked about this idea that there's a data point that the state collects and reports on, and it's progress towards proficiency. So when a student enters the EL program, or when the student enters the country and then enters the EL program, there is a certain number of years that is predicted that they should be able to exit out of their EL services. And that exit is through that access test and by earning a 4.8 composite on their access test. So the state says when they enter, say as a 5th grader, that by their 10th grade year, they should be exiting their EL program. And then they take their score, their initial access score when they first take the access test, and then walk that back from the 5 years to see yearly what should they be achieving to be able to be on track to exit on the predicted exit route. And so that number is called progress toward proficiency. And there's a lot of data that goes into it, and it takes into account raw scores and scale scores and composite scores. But Jeffrey and his team have crunched an incredible amount of numbers and allowed us to figure out what our progress toward proficiency has been in the past, and really talk in depth in the teaching and learning department and with our directors of EL services about where we want to go in the future. And I feel like we've set very aspirational goals in this one specifically, but that's very intentionally. The district has invested a lot in our EL programming. We have EL services in all of our schools now, where that didn't used to always be the case. We have a director of EL, we have an assistant director of EL, we have coordinators of EL in all of our schools, and really robust professional learning around EL. And I think some of the things that Dr. Rowe has said in the past is a path toward academic outcomes and growth as a district is really through our EL services and our EL programming. And really, when you look at EL programming and EL teaching strategies, they're just really good teaching strategies for all. And so as we continue to expose our staff to professional learning around the teaching of our multilingual learners, those instructional strategies, those instructional practices will really inform and I think benefit all of our students in the district. And so that's why we're really, I think, steadfast on having a goal specific to our EL learners and making sure that that goal made sense for what we're trying to do, and that's improve their language acquisition and make sure that we're on pace to be able to get them the language acquisition and the support and the services that they need to be successful. And so you can see that we've set those goals for the next 5 years. And the last goal that we have is specific back to that 15 graduation, those 15 college credits that students are graduating with. It's a metric that the district has had for a long time and focused and seen significant, substantial growth over the years. And we've seen a little bit of a plateau, but that is a commonality across the state and really across the country. But one of the things that we've looked at, and I think a byproduct potentially of the recalibrated state benchmarking tests, is that some of those state benchmarks will make dual credit classes more accessible for some students. And so we're hoping that it opens up additional opportunities and gives students obviously the confidence that they too can try it and do it. And so our hope is to continue to see a moderate but steady increase over the next 5 years in students that are graduating with the 15 college credits.
We're certainly happy to pause and answer any questions about this so we don't get too far along. I think what Dr. Hubbard and his team have done here, there's a mix of really ambitious goals and as well as some that may not look like they're hitting a number you may expect, but you have to recognize in the ELA and math, we're stopping a bit of a slide that the district has been on since COVID and turning that around. And I think that's nothing that can be overlooked in terms of why the numbers are set the way that they are. So we're very much committed to meeting all of our targets. However, I would say if we meet all of our targets, we didn't set them high enough because this is designed to be aspirational, and we really are trying to push our system. So we shouldn't meet all of them. We should come really, really close to a lot of them. But I hope that we meet all of them, and I hope that honestly we surpass our expectations, and we need to come back and say we need to reset and level set some of these, because I certainly know we're capable of it. It's just a matter of how quickly the momentum gets going. So with that, we're happy to answer any questions.
Well, let's get through the entire presentation, I think, Dr. Rowe.
Sure.
And then we'll take questions from the board members at the end.
Sounds fine.
Who's up next?
All right, goal 2, Mrs. Kendrick, you're up next.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about our strategic plan goal 2, which is around connecting and fostering an environment that values everyone and supports them to succeed. The neatest thing about this goal, I think, is that although it feels a little bit like something that we can't waste our time with, we need to really, really move quickly, because this is about our students and our staff feeling like they belong, getting our students here through our attendance. But the neatest thing has really been about working across all departments in this space in order to make our goals become a reality. We have, as Brad mentioned, we've been working really closely together to talk about how to best support students in our programming. We've worked together really with every department around aligning some of our 8th grade communications, making sure that we are doing a better job around registration so that it is much accessible to all families, especially our incoming 8th grade families, really focusing more on that articulation as well as professional development for staff to support our students in the area of belonging, and then certainly this idea of embedding SEL through our entire district has started just in the last several months, and we are really moving forward quickly with that.
Social emotional learning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're so
Which-
acronym here, it's just
Sorry.
drives everybody crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Our PE department has run with our social emotional learning curriculum. We had a great team get together last year to vet different programs. So I'll get into that in a minute. But the next slide is specific to our absenteeism, which we know has been a significant problem, bordering on a crisis situation since COVID, where we have seen a dramatic drop in attendance for many, many different reasons. So the metrics here are a little bit tricky, and the reason for that is that we have implemented many new systems, many new programs here this year. So really this year is almost our baseline, but we needed to put some metrics in here. So when I met with our strategy leads or with our strategic planners, we spoke specifically about the opportunity to hopefully increase these metrics as after living through this year and seeing how some of the significant changes that we've made make a difference. Our hope is that they certainly will. So we are looking at what appears to be a relatively small increase, but we also know that around absenteeism, moving the needle is really, really difficult. And so when we looked at some really incredible growth at Wheeling last year, we saw students attend 8,000 more classes, which moved the needle 0.5%. So just as an example to you, that's incredible growth, and we're super proud of that growth. So we're focused on the growth, but actually moving the needle and the percentage takes a whole lot. So we have several new programs in place this year. We have ALAP Advocates, which are our alternative learning opportunity program through our North Cook ROE, which we have partnered with. That's the Regional Office of Education, and they have supported us immensely by allowing us to help in interviewing candidates who are social workers and counselors by training, and they come in. We have 2 advocates in all of our schools, except 2 of the schools which have 1 advocate, and they come in, they work full-time in our spaces, and they can have up to 30 students who are generally our highest flyers when it comes to struggling with attendance. And so they are getting significant support in that area. And then we also have implemented other new programming much on a larger scale. Shout out to Rolling Meadows and to Elk Grove, who have started new programs within their schools, similar to the REACH program that we saw at Wheeling last year, that had huge success for our outliers who struggled with getting to school and finding success once they were in school. And this is the whole idea. We know that we need to get our students here to be able to meet any of these other goals. And then obviously building the relationships and engaging them. And then when they're here, building those skills around emotional intelligence and our social emotional learning. So as far as absenteeism for all, we are certainly providing new opportunities for students and new programming to help support those students. Our READY program here at the district office would also be another great example of something that we have put in place that will connect both the absenteeism for our students who have struggled getting to school, or even if they did get to school, didn't always make it to class. Now, not only are they showing up, but they're also feeling that sense of belonging in a much smaller supportive environment. When we talk about our EL students, we know that there's different factors that make getting to school even harder for this population of students. We know a lot of our students, these outside factors might include a lot of them take care of their siblings, get their siblings off to school in the morning. A lot of their parents are working when they leave for school or should be leaving for school in the morning, which is really difficult. We know that there's lots of outside factors that have impacted that. So we will continue to work on, again, all of the communications and that aligning the communications across the district to ensure that what our families are getting, they can understand, and everything is translatable, and so that we can help support families in understanding how critical it is that their students get to school. When we look at the next slide, this is specific to truancy. And so we are really working hard on a lot of positive supports. Jeffrey and his team are helping us with letters that we're sending to families, positive letters when we're seeing improvement in attendance, incentives for students, lots and lots of supports to really, really help us with getting students to school as opposed to cutting school. So this is, again, these metrics don't look very significant, but we hope that after some of the programming that we've put in place this year, we will continue to see growth, and we can adjust those metrics and make them higher and hopefully see more growth each year. The sense of belonging it has a much better looking metric, because we are definitely very, very committed to ensuring that our staff, our students, and our families feel like they are a part of our district. And so we are able to assess this opportunities for students so that we have a different pulse than we're getting from, so we'll have a second measure essentially, so that we have a better idea of exactly how students feel. We'll be talking more about those feelings about being here, not just engagement in activities and a different way of measuring belonging. So those metrics look a little bit better, but certainly all of the new programming that we've created should help this, because we want students to feel like they are in the right space for them, to feel success, and then have those relationships with trusted adults. We're leveraging that as well, because we want to make sure that all of our students have one trusted adult at least. And so that's another way that we are able to leverage. All of our student services departments are meeting with every student who did not select a trusted adult last school year. They're starting the school year with that. And then certainly in October, just as we did last year, we'll bring in the freshmen to have them determine who their trusted adult would be, or let us know that. So that's another thing that we can leverage to ensure that students feel like they belong. And when it comes to family engagement, as I said earlier, all of this kind of blends together, but really ensuring that everything that we send to families, certainly anything that can be consistent across the district, across all schools, coming from the district office, ensuring that it is all translatable, ensuring that it's messaging that's easy to understand and follow, and that we're not just giving them so much information that they lose track of things. And so we will continue, this is an ongoing process, but we will continue to work on this. We know that all of our buildings provide all kinds of amazing opportunities for families to engage, but really focusing on some of the high-level things that we're seeing and rolling out a new event each semester for things like social media that families don't always know how to navigate. Some high-level things to help families navigate parenting, really. And so that's something that we are focused on, but also working with Patrick and his team to start working on more of a parent series, where we're bringing in presenters to speak to parents on a regular basis, as some other area districts have, so that we can continue to engage with families and survey families to have a better understanding of what they need to help support their teenagers.
Thank you very much. So as we shift into goals 3 and 4, I hand it over to Mr. Yulee. We transition from really numeric metrics more to a process-oriented aspect of the plan, where you'll see that we're building systems and we're building processes you'll see our progress being tracked in terms of reports that we deliver to you at the end of the year. But Mr. Yulee.
Thank you. Yeah, goals 1 and it's not as exciting as goals 1 and 2, not as forward-facing. This nonetheless important, but a lot of the work will be behind the scenes early on, as Dr. Rowe mentioned, and very process-oriented. Essentially, we're across the board, we're analyzing and auditing and fact-finding and understanding pain points. 3A has a focus, cross-district learning, but that is very building-focused. That team is made up of the principals. And something small is just like a meeting cadence and a meeting structure, ensuring district meetings don't overlap with building meetings. Our professional development schedule, making sure that's aligned, just even in the calendar itself, nonetheless goal-driven. A small example of that current work was our intra-district course offerings. So we are offering courses in every building that students across the district can take. Not as easy as it sounds, right? That has to show itself in the master schedule through collaboration with building principals, student services. We then have to turn that over to staffing and K-Craft and HR, determine that master schedule. Then we have to take that and turn that over to business services to come up with the routing matrix for transportation, right? And so that took months and months of work to get to that point. And there are definitely opportunities to improve that process, and we will, and we've taken notes through that cycle and look to improve upon that in a couple of months. Moving on to goal 3, and we'll continue that work and continue those conversations with principals throughout the year. Goal 3B is really district-focused and finding those district department efficiencies. And so a lot of work has been done in the last year, specifically focused on HR and business services. And really, it's a domino effect. And anything we look at leads us back to good, clean data. And so one of the hot topics in the district has been the green sheets, the paper payroll forms, and moving away from those. We're about 70% through. And really what we've done is migrated to a smart spreadsheet where we integrate HR and payroll data into the spreadsheet, and they're drop-down internal controls that really minimize human error. Employee, click on the name, it auto-populates their ID. We pick the rate, it auto-populates the budget account number. And we do that within the payroll cycle, kick it over to payroll, download, upload, we're good to go, right? Versus the inefficient process of using paper and the potential mistakes in the passing back and forth of paper. That's just a small example. A lot of the work this year, again, is already started, the new website. Again, that's a cross-departmental collaboration, ensuring that we have the functionality that we need for all stakeholders. Looking to pinpoint portals, students, staff, and parents, families, right? Ensuring that one-stop shop has access to all the necessary systems they would need. That's ongoing. And we've kind of assembled a small little team where we have a data lens, HR, business, and technology, and we push in, and with each department, where are the pain points, then we start to unpack that and understand that. And that little team has kind of moved around the district thus far, and has done some incredible work. But we will continue with that throughout the year. And again, once we kind of have a good understanding, we've started to do project maps, and we've listed out the different departments that'll be involved, and we share that, and then we set meetings and deadlines and deliverables. And so it's really starting to come to life. I'm excited about the work. And then lastly, and again, one example in the operations world is the McKinstry project that the board just approved. Again, we have all of this data. What do we do with this data? We found a system where we can enter that data, and it help us make informed decisions moving forward. Just a small example of and there are a lot of systems, and they could be a legacy system, it could be archaic, or we don't have a system. So that's part of all of the work that we have been doing and will continue to do. And then lastly, 3C is the fiscal transparency goal. Justin Attaway is the lead on 3C, and we've been starting to do a lot of work with our building budgets already. That's kind of the start, is a line-by-line analysis in every building budget to understand why, and look at where we're aligned and where we're not. Eventually moving and looking at potentially a building budget formula that takes different factors into account. Not this year, but we have to understand building budgets first, and then we will look to move in that direction in the near future. Anything I missed?
And the only thing I would add is I just remind you, where we were 3 years ago, and the charge that was given was, 6 comprehensive high schools that had 6 different ways of doing things. And a lot of our conversation about the strategic plan really centered around maintain their unique culture, but we need to find some District 214 ways of doing things. And that's where this is coming from. So some of it is very tedious, but it's very purposeful, with a lot of intentionality and feedback from our principals. And the cross-departmental breaking down of silos, you probably have heard me say that 15 times by now. And it's like Mr. Yulee said, it's coming to life. So this, again, very process-oriented goal. You'll get updates in terms of priority lists like this, but then ultimately reports of progress. All right, shifting over to Goal 4 is our dreaming goal for Mrs. Kraft to highlight our innovation in premier facilities.
Thank you, Dr. O. Yes, the dreaming goal. District 214 has long prided itself on our innovation and our innovative practices, and so I'm proud to be representing Goal 4. I'm working with Dr. McFall and Scott Schulten on 4A and 4B. 4A focuses on facilities that support innovative learning, and 4B is on the specific ways that we're teaching and how we're testing innovations and how we're scaling innovations. So I want to start by talking about 4B because it largely informs 4A. So we have several different ways in which we bring innovation, bring ideas forward. And so we have some that run through our professional learning department. We have some that run through our district office. We have an innovation committee. And so really the first year we're going to be participating in these committees and figuring out a way to systematize, scale, and test these different mechanisms to build on this. That work with 4B will help inform 4A, which really a lot of the facilities work we're talking about establishing a baseline into next school year. So as you know, Chris has led the work with the facilities assessment. So that's kind of the behind-the-scenes work in the schools in terms of facilities. And this is more how we build our classrooms to support that innovative instruction. And so we will be doing that as sort of a secondary component that'll start more after we do set the baselines for these impactful teaching innovations this school year. Yeah, I think that's it.
All right, thank you. With that, we're happy to go back and discuss any particular point of it or answer any questions that you may have.
Board members, anyone want to start? Dr. Sager.
Okay, so I think I have a few sort of general questions. I think you partially answered one of them, which is how are we as a board supposed to take these? Are these aspirational goals or are they set goals that we will meet, right? Because I think that's two different ways of thinking about this. One of our charges as a board is to monitor progress of the district, and this is the mechanism to do that. And so when we look at these trend lines and I look 5 years out, am I supposed to say, we're going to hit that number guaranteed, or this is the number we hope to hit if everything's going well? I kind of just want you to reiterate that point.
Sure. Well, I would say that it's aspirational, without a doubt. We expect that we're going to hit it or surpass it. However, anytime the work that we're putting in place, we're expecting the outcomes to come with it, and there are so many variables that are there. We're setting aspirational goals that are a push goal for us, so they're not set beneath what we expect to be. They're not easily attained, I guess I should say. That said, I expect that we're going to hit those, but they are very much aspirational goals.
And then my next question was the 24-25 data point that's shown on each of the graphs. Is that a data point or is that a projection?
It's a data point.
It's a data point,
so it's known. That's where we hit this last year.
So the first year is, the first year in blue is a known number, right? That the district achieved
first year in blue is a
from
known
last
number.
year's school year.
That's correct.
Right? So
that's correct. So for instance, we saw a jump from 56 to 69 in terms of the rigor from 23-24 to 24-25.
Right, I just want
Yes.
to double check that because that's what I believe.
Confirming that, Jeffrey, that's correct, is it not?
I assume because they have three.
That particular one, yes. There are a few, like the new EL progress proficiency metric, that the state has not published the official number. That's my approximation by looking at the granular data. I'm guessing that we would hit half of
I was going to say, you have 3 sig figs on that.
But these are where we are, yes.
Okay, so for most of them, it's a number that we know. So that's kind of baseline, kind of first-year progress, right? And then my questions were sort of, if you go back to metric 1 for goal 1, 82% strikes me as a very high number to get any number of teenagers to agree on something. So that strikes me as very ambitious. Do we have any data that shows that there are districts that hit that 82%?
Well,
So Jeffrey probably knows this much better than I do, but I'll take a stab at answering. So the rigor metric is a supplemental metric that I don't believe, published from other districts. However, the academic press one that I spoke about, and I was very intentional in talking about the conversations that we had around that academic press, I don't know of any districts that have hit it, but I can tell you that we have schools both in District 214 and in other places that are at or around 80 or 81. And so Hersey, I believe, was 81 last year in academic press. So I think there's some rationale to think, and that's a student-reported metric. The one thing that Jeffrey and I have talked about is roughly for those questions that I read that were examples of that fed into academic or the classroom rigor, roughly 80% of students already answer agree or strongly agree. And so really to move the metric, it's going to be taking students that are agreeing and getting them to strongly agree. So there could certainly be some challenges to that. And the fact that they re-norm periodically and things could make this maybe unattainable, but as we sit here right now, to Dr. Rowe's point, I think it's aspirational and potentially attainable.
And then would we expect on all of these graphs, so next year we'll have a data number that goes, in that second year. Will it go on here and we'll keep that trend line so we can see whether we're above trend or below trend?
Absolutely.
So,
And I would add that, if you might, Jeffrey, if you want, please hit the podium if you address. And while Jeffrey moves up here, I just want to just give some context. What I have asked our team to really focus on and emphasize, less about hitting the number, is I want to see growth year over year. If we're not hitting the number, but we're growing, I'll be disappointed, but I'll still be pleased, because what you see has not been a trajectory of growth over the last few years. It's been a decline, and that's part of the reason why we're creating our own little miniature crisis. If it's time, we have to turn this around, because we know we're capable of much better than that. And we're still, our juniors were in 6th grade when they were remote. So we're still very much dealing with students that in the formidable years of middle school, when a lot of the foundation of the high-level math that they're in now, they were building that foundation. So we're still trying to turn this around, but this is what you're seeing in our eyes is something that we don't find acceptable. So growth year over year is step number 1 in my book that we're after, is that even if we don't hit the number, but we've got 3 years in a row of positive growth, I think they will know we're really onto something and we're heading in the right direction. Thanks, Jeffrey. What do you have to add?
I just wanted to clarify in response to that EL progress. This is a very recently developing that we're doing this. I think our wording is a little incorrect, because it's not percentage. The 82 is not actually a percentage of students. That's a standardized score. So this metric, it's like 5 or 6 questions that they create a data, and then they create a standardized score across the state of all schools. So right now we are, like, you kind of think of it as like the percentile. Currently we're at like the 69th percentile, and it's not really a percentile, but it's a standardized score of 69. We want to get to the 82. So it isn't 82% of our students all agreeing necessarily.
Right, so if it's some sort of norm score, there must be districts that are hitting that then, because there's a
we want
norm.
to get
Yeah.
higher.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
I'm very happy you clarified that we're not necessarily, or we're setting the level of we want to see growth over time, right? So one more point on these questions. For the attendance in particular, we know that there's this global effect of, this is not unique to us, this spike in non-attendance. And so there's this societal component that we don't necessarily control, right? That it's more acceptable for students to avoid school, seems to be what's happening. It's not just 214, it's everybody. And so there's this convoluting factor of what's happening in society compared to what's happening to us. And so it may be that, it may be that we hold steady while other schools are seeing worse attendance, right? And so it may be necessary not to just use an absolute number here, but to compare ourselves to other districts, which I know is part of the state report cards that I reported.
And I think, Ms. Kinder, please chime in if you think otherwise, but I think our goal here, like we said, growth year over year, we want to see the needle move, that we're having an impact. We had this conversation prior to bringing our three newest board members on last year with last year's data, and I believe it was Mr. Dustling that made the point, and it was a really good one of, he asked that we not only talk about the progress of curbing chronic absenteeism, but go into more detail about the efforts and the detail of what we're doing as a staff and as a district to try and encourage students and families to prioritize it. Because when you're dealing with teenagers, we can beat our heads against the wall, but they have to meet us in the middle at some point in terms of coming to school. So this really is about that family engagement of really prioritizing and giving the nudge letters of that we began last year of your students' attendance as compared to our ideal of what we're striving for, so you can see if you're on track. They actually are really powerful when those are sent out. So they'll be automated, and it's really, we want to see that negative growth here year over year. But as Kara said, it's really difficult to move the needle. And a lot of great work by our student services teams in our buildings that has been invested so far.
Right, and I think that story is important. So as a numbers data guy, there's more to these graphs than just what the numbers are doing. There'll be a large narrative that'll go with it, without a doubt.
I also would just add that our attendance committee is really focusing on the positive ways to intervene with students when we see growth. And even if it's a very, very small amount of growth, but through our solution finding teams, we can see, and the data that Jeffrey's team pulls for us, we can see when students have shown even just a little bit of growth, and acknowledging that and sending letters home for that. Jeffrey and his team are also helping us with. So we're really trying to focus on just small improvements, which hopefully will.
And kind of to wrap this up, an example of that was a new effort this year by student services teams in all of our buildings, is they actually went and identified students who have a track record of poor attendance as well as struggling in terms of their credits, and they held home visits with them over the summer to begin that relationship and prioritize that. They were really positively received by a lot of our families. So we're hoping really starting off on a positive note so students don't fall behind that 10% trend line that is really difficult to get back over the hump. Thank you.
Done? Okay. Mr. Fiorito.
Okay, I'm going to keep it brief. I have one question and one comment. I'll start with the question first. I'm going to Chris. So you talked about the 6 schools. Will Forest View also have a building budget?
Yes. The specialized schools does have a building
So
budget.
we'll have 7 budgets?
Yes.
Okay.
It looks a little different,
Obviously.
given the program.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so that was my question. And my comment, it's something I raised to Dr. Rowe. I just wanted everybody else to hear it. One of the things that I thought about with goal number 1, so that BBU Brett, was I noticed that all the metrics were all focused on basically kids that were going to college. I felt it was more college than the trades. So that was my question for Dr. Rowe, was like, I looked at those growths and I really didn't see anything that was focusing on the trades. And Dr. Rowe, if you want to.
Sure. I just shared, actually Brad and I discussed it. I just shared the 15 credit hours through dual credit. All of our pathways are really entrenched in dual credit work. It really paves the way for, there'll be some form of post-secondary education required for certifications or additional learning, and our students that are engaged in our pathways that are strengthened and prepared for post-secondary work, I think it actually does accentuate and elevate the trades. And we want to celebrate our areas of strength as well as identify our areas for improvement, and pathways are certainly an area of strength for us. We want to accentuate those and maintain, while other areas are, in my opinion, a little bit more pressing in terms of turning around some of our performance levels.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Chung?
Yeah, thank you so much for the presentation. First, I want to piggyback on something that Dr. Sager asked about the goals. So, so we've got our 5-year goal, and I see on some of these graphs, you can see maybe incremental 1-year benchmarks. I saw some other verbiage where like by December 2025, will XYZ. If the board is going to review maybe progress twice a year, it sounds like, well, would it be possible, and maybe you're already planning this, to have some 6-month anticipated milestones set in place, understanding that, progress in itself growth in itself is a huge achievement. But at the same time, if the board is going to try to understand, engage, and monitor performance, it would be really helpful, at least to me, to have some kind of, every time, like set in advance some milestones that we anticipate hitting at that 6-month mark. And that's not to say if we don't meet it, it's a failure. It could just be that the milestone was off. But something to help us monitor and understand performance.
I hear what you're saying there, and I think this is an example of that. Like, for instance, the biggest one in Dr. Hubbard's world is that by December of this year, that instructional vision, there's a form to it so that we can begin really farming it out and getting some feedback, socializing it with our staff. That, when we come in January, I would think that would serve as one of those 6-month milestones that when I report to you in January, if we're not giving you an update on that, we'll have some rationale of, we've hit a snag, this is delayed, we'll have it finished in February, we're still on track for completion by June, which is that annual target. Okay. So there are a few of those, like in spring 2026, we'll have the implementation for the instructional vision on what the second step of that would be on the professional development side of the house. So unless we're on the same page, I'm viewing that as what you're asking for.
Yes. Is that possible then for all the goals to have something, just again, something to shoot for, something that when you report out, we can say, hey, we were expecting to hit this, we didn't. Again, that doesn't mean it was a failure. It could just mean we're,
Sure.
growing.
I think with some of them, it's a challenge to do that. I think in some cases, we definitely will, but what I'm viewing our January mid-year update is how are we tracking toward having it in July, where we'll be able to say, hey, we're off, because the stock takes, what we're going to be reporting on is when they're in our meeting, on each of those, at the end of that, they'll have to say, are we on track? Are we slightly off track? Or do we really need to focus on this? And then our work then becomes, if we're in the red, we have to really narrow our focus. So when we get to January, we'll be able to report to you, these are the areas where we are on track. These are the areas where we are not, and we're really investing a lot of resources to catch up.
Okay.
So I don't know that I would feel good about placing specific targets at 6 months because a lot of the work is just so fluid.
Okay.
And so I would say I would ask then, let's do this. Let's go through it. And if it's not hitting that, then I'm happy to try and adjust that, but not having followed this particular model before, I really want to follow our partner's textbook setup to live it once. And if it doesn't meet the mark, then I'd be happy to talk about adjusting it and seeing if we can tweak it, if that works.
Yeah, that
Great.
sounds great. My second question is about, under Goal 1, one of the Year 1 priorities is to establish a joint working group with our sender schools to align on academic expectations and instructional practices and all of that. I love this. I think I love the work that D214 is doing with our sender district. My question is, could you share how this new group will expand the existing, group that's working on the math curriculum alignment, as well as what outcomes might we expect from the new group or the expanded group?
So it's in development, and I don't have a concrete answer, but I can tell you that we are looking to expand the partnership similar to the way that we've expanded math. And so one of the things that we've done is talk to my counterparts in our feeder districts, of which we have periodic meetings. And one of the things that we developed a couple of years ago was a joint institute day. So January 5th is a common institute day that all of our feeders share along with us. And while we have not partnered with them in every content area, we have partnered with them, obviously, in math over this past year, and in the performing arts, our performing arts teacher. This year, we've started very preliminary conversations about potential partnership in ELA to talk about instructional practices, professional learning, specific to reading and writing in ELA, and then broadening that out to some potential other content areas. And so we're just starting to scratch the surface of, does it make sense to have a singular group that comes together with District 214 and all of the feeders, or does it make sense to do it more content-based, like we did with math, like we potentially do with ELA, like we're already doing with performing arts? Are there ways to create those partnerships in pockets that allow them to kind of really talk about instructional practice, professional learning, standards alignment, curriculum alignment? And so the math was kind of the first foray into that, and I anticipate that similar model will expand.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Bradford. My last question is, how will we share our progress towards these goals with the wider community? So for example, will we have a dashboard on our website that shows progress, or what's the plan?
That's a good question. We have not discussed a dashboard for progress. I'm sure that's something that we could create, but I envision that our tracking toward progress would occur at our January and July updates for the board, as well as we'll certainly share in our annual report that we send out to all of our community members, the progress in terms of tracking our goals, and then the annual state of the district, which will have a considerable amount of media, where we'll share our progress from the year prior.
Ms. Baldino?
Well, first of all, I want to say I think that the thing I appreciated the most about this plan is that it really shows systemic thinking, that all of the pieces work together and complement each other. And that is obviously really central to the strategic plan. I did have a couple of questions. I want to, add on to what Mr. Fioretto said about college-bound students and ask the question, are there barriers to students taking college credit classes that need to be addressed? Are financial barriers or other types of barriers that we would need to remove in order to have more student participation? If the interest is there.
To my knowledge, we have accounted for all known barriers. And what I have seen is if when a new barrier arises, we are very creative to try and remove them. I would say I would expect that to continue from the foundation, even chipping in years past. Now that Dr. Lopez is over there, I believe there will be an even greater partnership to use. The foundation's been very willing in terms of support, financial support for students in need. Part of our rationale for shifting our Director of Equity role into the Equitable Practices role across multiple positions is that very thing. So in the curriculum office, whenever one of those barriers is identified, really getting down to the root cause and looking to eliminate it from the departmental level so that it doesn't occur. But whenever a situation like that arises, I think you would be very proud to see how the people in this district rally to try and solve that for any student facing a barrier so that we can get them access to the best.
And then my other question was around goal 3. So for Chris, the priorities were pretty clear in terms of, there's a number of areas where you're working on essential process and data consolidation kinds of improvements. Do you intend to turn some of these into kind of SMART goals where they're more specific and measurable in terms of, so you're doing a lot of project tracking is what I was hearing. But do those project plans also include more specific goals around what types of improvements you expect to see out of that work?
Yes, we're just not at the point where we have enough data to create those SMART goals. This is not set in stone, but we're analyzing our financial system, which is massive and drives almost everything we talk about. Is it the right fit for what we're trying to do? We're currently working through that process. If we wanted to change financial systems, you're looking at an 18 to 24-month implementation. So a massive project that would involve a lot of departments and people. So, when we get to a point where we're going to make a decision like that, then it turns into deliverables and a SMART goal.
Right. Yeah, because there's some of these things in your priorities, right, that in your strategy that are clearly more specifically measurable, such as, by the end of the year, we will do this specific thing, and others that are more just general statements at this point. So, I would hope to have updates or more information as that work is moving along. Similar to innovation, where you're just beginning to put a framework in place, and so this will evolve clearly, and we'll look forward to additional updates on where is that work going and how are we going to know.
We do expect after the first year or two, there'll be the baseline in Goal 3 and Goal 4 that we don't have, like Goal 1 and 2 do. And we'll be able to set those more specific metrics to grow from, without a doubt.
Okay. Thank you.
You.
Mr. Dustling.
Yes, thank you. Since this is really the first big jump off the diving board into the pool on strategic planning, I really don't have a problem with the goals, whether they're aspirational, specific, reaching, whatever they are. I really don't have a problem with it. We've got some wizards that are setting these things up, and they're not going to lower the bar down just to look good. They're too smart for that. So I'm satisfied with the goals. If they have to be adjusted at some point, if they have to be edited, whatever, fine. That's your jobs to do. You're the wizards at it, so get it done. The other thing I didn't realize in the attendance thing, COVID has been nuclear to us. I mean, when you take a look at the beginning, 20, 21, 22, 19, 20, what it was, and then the graph goes up. And you look at what we've done. I mean, we've brought in crisis management people at every level, filled up the schools with crisis management. I certainly don't have an answer to it. I have the feeling that you're doing everything you can, principals in the back and you up here, and obviously with human resources. I mean, I don't know what else you can do. You can't, there's no way we can lock these kids up in a classroom and say, you got to stay here all day long and our attendance will be great. That doesn't work that way. So I think you're doing everything you can do along those lines, and I encourage you to keep on doing it. I'm stunned that 8,000 hours means 0.5% increase. I can't imagine the time and effort that goes into that, but thank you very much. The other thing I would say is when we look at CTE, and CTE is absolutely important, I support CTE. I just want to make sure that there's a relationship between CTE, the courses that are being taken there, and we aren't cutting the fine arts out in some areas that possibly students can't take courses because of the CTE they're involved in, how we can wrestle it out so that both are winners.
Mm-hmm. I hear you, Mr. Dustling, and I would say that we have our areas of improvement that don't find their ways into metrics and strategic plan, that we are actively working on things in addition to this that we just aren't.
Well, this is our first time off the diving board, and it's good.
Thank you.
Thank you, board members. Dr. Rowe last year went around to all of the parent groups and did a presentation to them about the strategic plan. And I would follow up with, I think a week or two before Dr. Rowe was actually hired, we had a board self-eval where we went over things that we wanted the new superintendent to do. And we were so adamant about a strategic plan. We want you to do that the first year. And he said, no, we'll do this the second year. So here we are, it's come to fruition, the wishes of the previous board. And I know that this current board is very much in favor of moving forward with this. It's been a while. And it's something that the previous board really, really wanted. And here we are today looking at the matrix. So we've got our foot on the gas, and I can't wait for an update. Really appreciate the work of everyone. I know this was a huge process to go through and continuing along that road. So call the roll.
Fiorito,
Yes.
Sager,
Aye.
Baldino,
Yes.
Chung,
Yes.
Dustling,
Yes.
Heineman,
Aye.
and Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank
Before we
you.
move on, I just wanted to add thank you all for the support. It's been, you said we've carried a lot of it, and I'm extremely proud of our team. You all did a great job tonight, but it's a lot of the work behind the scenes has been tremendous. But thank you to the board for your continued support and in this process. We're happy we're here too.
Appreciate it. Thank you. So we've got 14-1. Can I have a motion and a second, please? Mark?
So moved.
Second, Fiorito.
Thank you. Mr. Yulee, please.
Thank you. As Dr. Rowe alluded to last meeting, we are having an issue with the A building roof, and it needs to be replaced. And so we're bringing the agenda item to you tonight just to recap and review. This has been an 8-month issue. We've gone through infrared testing, nuclear dye testing, and finally core samples of the insulation to test the moisture. The results came back at about 50% of the roof insulation is wet, thus the need to replace the roof. I'm going to invite Ms. Mistak up to talk about the new roof and the process, and then we'll open it up to questions.
Yeah, what happened on Monday with the storm we had? I was in this building Monday.
Yeah.
And did you have any additional damage?
The issue we're having, it's not automatic. It finds its way in, and then it works its way down, and it'll show up a week later.
Yeah, isn't that nice? I'm sorry, Annetta, go ahead.
Good evening. I would like to give a little quick overview. This roof on a Forest View Education Center Building A, it's about 11 years old roof. It has the cold pitch tarp roof. We did, like Chris mentioned, extended work to find a way why we have multiple leaks. We were able to control to only 2 rooms right now. We found, I did a lot of the homework with the team in the district, with our district roofer, and we found the Tremco, which they are not new contractor. They've been on many districts. They are in a Huntley School District 158. They recently finished the work on a CPS. They have a very good and special system that we will be applying for that roof. And I would like to say it that it's about 29,380 square foot roof. We are planning to do 5 to 6 weeks of the work. The work will start in the end of the September. And the reason why, because as we all know, many contractors right now are in the end of the summer when they are finishing their jobs. And because that was very unexpected, we were trying to find the best way, and the contractors that they have very good reputation with the District 214, and ask them if they will be able to bid the job for us through the Tremco Sourcewell program, and will be able to do the job. We are planning to do the most of the job and the demo in a second shift, since we have students. And I would like to bring, because many of us, we know that we did the roof 3 years ago here in Forest View. The major difference is on a building A, we have a deck that is concrete, okay, that we have a big support over there. When what we will do, we will demo the existing roof, we will do temporary roof, and then we will mobilize the contractor and start the work. With cooperating of the weather, I'm hoping that we will be accomplish everything in a 5 to 6 weeks, how I mentioned. I am very excited about these projects because this is very new system that we will be applying. Besides of the, it's seamless system. What that means that we will not have a seams on a roof. Also, additionally, for a typical building of the system of the roofs, we will be applying 3 to 4 coats of the layer that will be very low odorless. It's very friendly for, eco-friendly for everybody. It will save a lot of the energy for the district. It's applied, and in 20 years, that's what the warranty will be for that roof. The district will not have to replace that roof completely. What that means, we will have to reapply the liquid on it without completely demo. And I think that will be very good future for us. I will be very excited with the team and Chris to observe how that will work for us. And in the future, we have a lot of the roofs that will bring very good financial planning for us, how we would like to move forward with the roofs. Thank you.
Board members.
I have a question.
Dr. Chung.
Hold on, okay. No, ladies first.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Annetta. My question, so you mentioned it will probably start at the end of September, maybe 5 to 6 weeks, and all after-school hours, so not to disturb students in school. Are there after-school or evening programs that will now be disrupted because of that, and what's the...
I can answer. We discussed that with Chris today. This is 3rd floor. We have 3-floor building. Also, when we will be having demo, that will be only when it will be noisy, and I will do coordination with what programs we have. One program that we check with Chris is on the 1st floor, and then as soon as they will start for applying the system, it's so safe and it's no odorless, and we have a concrete deck that it can be really done during the school years. A lot of the district decide for this type of the roofing system because it's very safe for students that they are in a school. But the most of the demo, and like I said, that will be coordination with me and Chris with school.
Mr. Fiorito.
So my question is, it sounds like it's maybe a new type of style that we're doing with this roof, because we just recently did the Prospect roof. Am I right with that?
Yeah.
So is this something similar to what you did with Prospect? And my follow-up question would be is, if we have other buildings that need new roofs, is this something that we would learn from?
Absolutely, and I think it depends on the style and the type of roof. So the roof we're doing here can't necessarily be installed on every single roof, but I do think, and then I was very excited to take this leap on this product, and I think we're gonna absolutely gauge how this goes and look to apply it in future applicable settings. Thank you.
The big wins here, to highlight what Annetta shared, one, it's a 20-year warranty instead of a 10-year warranty. There are no seams in the roof, which is why we're in this situation, is the water's finding a seam and then running all over the building. And then the roof is actually white, so it will reflect the sunlight and the heat, and should be more energy efficient, which we'll be able to track and determine if it's a good fit for other buildings year over year, if we can start tracking how much we may be saving in energy to really use for, Lord knows we have a lot of projects in the next decade. We may be able to do a few roofs in that time frame.
And I would like to add to Dr. O one point, like the contractor and the Tremco, it's nationwide. They did a lot of the roofs. We review very carefully their portfolio. Also compare for us the financial savings in 20 years. Instead to pay, for example, the prices are going up, $100 for a square foot, we will be paying only in 18. Because we will not be doing full replacement.
Anyone else? Dr. Sager.
So this is a newer technology. Has it been used in our climate?
That's not newer technology. It's
not?
existing technology. It's all over in nationwide. I walked 3 years ago a lot of the roofs in the Huntley High School. This is completely not new. It will be new only for our district.
Okay, so it's new for us, but it's been tested in this climate.
Correct.
That's what I wanted to get to.
My only other question was, the water is finding its way in through the seams in this building. So is there also interior damage that your team will have to repair as a result of the leaks?
we did discover that issue after the winter, and we were able right away to control the leaks because it's very important for the students. During the summer, we did all of the restoration work. We painted. Like I mentioned, right now we have a dripping. We don't have even leaks. We have a small drip that we are able to control, but everything was already restored inside the school.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, call the roll.
Heineman,
Aye.
Fiorito,
Yes.
Baldino,
Yes.
Chung,
Yes.
Dessling,
Yes.
Sager,
Aye.
Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. We move on to 14.3 under Business Services. 14.3.1. Motion and a second, please.
Motion Baldino?
Second Chung.
Questions, board members? Call the roll. Oh, sorry. We're at accounts payable, Bill.
Which, are you going to do these by individual?
Yes, yes. You good?
Yeah.
Okay, call the roll.
Baldino,
Yes.
Chung,
Yes.
Dessling,
Yes.
Fiorito,
Yes.
Heineman,
Aye.
Sager,
Aye.
Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, 14.3.2, please. Motion and a second.
So moved. Fiorito.
Second Chung.
Discussion? Call the roll.
Fiorito,
Yes.
Chung,
Yes.
Baldino,
Yes.
Dessling,
Yes.
Heineman,
Aye.
Sager,
Aye.
and Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
14.3.3, motion and a second, please.
Motion Baldino?
Second Chung.
Thank you. Board members, Ms. Baldino, would you like to start? Anything? No?
No.
Okay. Any board member? Mr. Dessling?
Well, as at previous discussions on this topic, I was against it, against approval on it, and I still am, for the various reasons. One is cost of a property that we paid for it is barely covered by what this bid is, and there's renovations and some relocations that we put in that's well over $1 million that we won't recover. That's first thing. Second thing is Bradford Allen has got a plan for the whole southern corridor of Arlington Heights Road. They have it planned out for years to come. They obviously have investors that are interested in investing that, and they'll get resources for those funds. 2123 is, again, prime property. Once they buy that, that property is large enough that if they want to petition Arlington Heights, they could divide that in two, which may not double the value of the property, but it'll certainly make it something that they could develop on a smaller basis rather than just use the property for itself. The property sits has two entrances, or an entrance and an exit on either side, so it's prime moving into that area. When you take a look at the fact that the Bears are rethinking what they're going to do with their location, moving into possibly the old racetrack site, in my mind, that even increases the value of this property more than what it is. In my mind, I think we can afford to wait, and when you take a look at what we're looking at, $5 million, when you take a look at our overall budget, yes, $5 million is a lot of money, but in relationship to the overall budget, we can wait a while and see what develops here, because it's really going to develop. Bradford Allen, they aren't rookies. They know what they're doing, and they're grabbing this property so that they can develop it in the future and even make more money off of it. Why shouldn't we? Thank you.
Any other board member? Mr. Heineman?
Yeah, I have to agree. I think that's a very valuable piece of property, and I'm not sure we've explored all of the possibilities for it. There's just lots of opportunities, and I think there'll even be more in the near future.
Thank you. Dr. Chung?
Yeah, I'm a yes vote on selling the property, and the main driver is just that the millions of dollars in facility needs across our schools. I just don't think it's in the district's best interest to hold on to a property that we aren't using right now, that we don't need right now, especially because it's draining our resources as long as we hold on to it. I think that selling the property would allow us to direct additional funds to support students in the building where learning occurs. I hear you. I do agree that probably if we had the luxury of time, that the value of the property would increase, but I think right now our focus needs to be on the buildings where we serve our students every day, and the funds from the sale would be a huge help. So I would be a yes.
Dr. Sager?
Yeah, I'm a yes as well. I do want to express a bit of frustration in the mechanism by which school boards sell property. If someone was coming to you to buy your house and it was a single individual, you would be able to negotiate with that person to find the right price. That's how economics is supposed to work. And the fact that a school board has to take a sealed bid puts us in a bind where I think, potentially if we could negotiate properly, we could get more money for it. But that being said, it is an opportunity cost to hold on to a piece of property. We shouldn't be investing in real estate. If we have needs, and we do have needs, that will go directly to educating students. We have to take that. Holding on to it, while it appreciates, we're still going to be stuck with, when you sell it as a school board, the system is not set up to do that in the most efficient way possible. So I think getting that money and those funds available to our students and meeting our needs today is an opportunity that we have to take. Thank you.
Mr. Fiorito?
I respect Bill and Mark's opinion, but I'm also a yes. And one of the reasons that I am a yes is I take a look at what happened with the Forest View roof. I know there are other buildings that had some immediate needs this week, and the $5.5 million, I know it's just short term. We might not get that for another 9 to 12 months, but we might be able to use that cash quickly if we have to move on some of the facilities that we're looking to do now rather than waiting till later. Thank you.
The only thing I would
Dr.
add,
Rowe.
just as a point of clarification on the timeline and delaying, I actually explored that option with Mr. Reckless at Arlington Heights, and he reminded me that it's within a TIF district. And the incentive for developers to spend more is early in the TIF district, because as the TIF begins to expire, their incentive of using those wanes. So yes, typically if a property does gain value over time, however, in a TIF district, it's like inverted, just for point of clarification.
Okay. We've been discussing this for a few months now. And I know I've talked to Mr. Heineman about other needs for the property. But in 52 years, we haven't built another facility. And I think if we needed another facility, we would have sought out some property. And the last time we sold a building, it was NSSEO. And I'm guessing it's probably, we gave it to them for $1. I'm guessing, I don't know, back in the mid-'80s. And if you look at that NSSEO building, how small it is, I can't believe that we were there. And I really think that you have to look at that dollar amount that we're looking at, which is astronomical. And I'm sure if it was in dollars today, it'd be well over $900 million. And I really feel that we need to show the public that we're serious about this. We're serious about saving money towards all these needs in the building. And if you were here a few months back where they talked about if you took the building and turned it upside down, what didn't come out is what the needs are for the building. And that really kind of shocked me, because when we had those meetings with the students, we met with the students 2 or 3 times a year, they wanted stuff that they could see. And that's not even in the equation, that $866 million. And which kind of scares me about what the dollar amount would really be. But we are here today, so please call the roll.
Fiorito,
Yes.
Baldino,
Yes.
Sager,
Aye.
Chung,
Yes.
Heineman,
No.
Dustling,
No.
Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-2.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. Do we want to talk about next steps, Dr. Attaway, or would
Sure.
you rather wait?
I think Dr. Attaway is prepared just to remind everyone of what the next steps are. And then, of course, I mean, Mr. Crowley's here from Frantic to guide in the process if needed.
Sure. Thank you. Similar to any real estate transaction, the approval of the sale of the property tonight is the first of several milestones that need to be hit in order for this to close. Following approval tonight starts the feasibility period. So that allows Bradford Allen 120 days to go in and investigate the physical and environmental condition of the real estate. That period is set to expire on December 19th of this year, and once that period is over, $50,000 of the earnest money that they provided to the district becomes non-refundable. Following the feasibility period is the approval period, where Bradford Allen has the right to pursue any zoning and development approvals for the project. That period is the longest period. It lasts 210 days. So that puts us at about July 17th of 2026. That can potentially be extended by another 90 days if Bradford Allen deposits an additional $50,000 in non-refundable earnest money for the district. Following the approval period, then we move into closing. So closing needs to occur within 20 days of the expiration of the approval period. So that will be either August of 2026 or October of 2026, depending on the length of the approval period. All of this timing could accelerate, but at the buyer's sole discretion. So at worst, we're looking at potential closing in October of 2026. But if Bradford Allen chooses, they could accelerate any of these periods, and it could happen sooner.
In the meantime, we're paying utilities. Yeah, okay. Anything to add? Anything else? Okay, good. Thank you. Thanks, Brian. Okay, we're at 1441, FOIA request. Bill?
Motion to whatever it is.
14?
Yeah.
1441.
14.1.
Okay.
Second motion, Fiorito.
Discussion? Call the roll.
Dustling,
Yes.
Fiorito,
Yes.
Baldino,
Yes.
Chung,
Yes.
Heineman,
Aye.
Sager,
Aye.
and Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. We're on to 1451, Human Resources. Motion and a second, please.
I move to approve the personnel transaction reports for August 21st, 2025, including the termination of the out-of-district co-curricular sponsor, Gary Prokes.
A second, please.
Second, Baldino.
Call the roll.
Sager,
Aye.
Baldino,
Yes.
Chung,
Yes.
Dustling,
Yes.
Fiorito,
Yes.
Heineman,
Aye.
and Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. And now we have two discussion items this evening. Mr. Maggie?
Thank you. We currently own a piece of equipment that's 15 years old regarding mailings that really doesn't work anymore and needs to be repaired. And our current process to do bulk mailing for the schools is very inefficient. The schools send us information, the list, the mailroom prints it, sends it back to the schools stuff it full, to put labels on it, then they ship it back to the mailroom to then have it put stamps and everything on it to get it out. The new process will be the schools will send us the information, the mailroom will just take it from there, and they'll be able to pre-sort the mail to save money as well in terms of how it's delivered to homes. So looking to save time and money for the district. Yes,
Board members,
efficiencies,
questions?
Mr. Yuli. Functional.
I had, I noticed that it talked about reducing some of the workload at the staff.
At the schools, yeah.
Okay, so they'll be able to take on other things, or it's just they're overworked right now, or?
Oh, this is at the schools. Your front offices would be
Yeah.
stuffing envelopes and that kind of thing. So we'll be able to take that away from them.
Okay, and so are we adding any staff at the mail room here for doing all that work?
No, and in fact, there used to be we did some restructuring before
Sure.
so that we actually reduced some FTE.
Okay,
We did that.
great, thanks, Patrick.
Anyone else? Okay, moving on. NSSEO, Dr. Sager.
Thank you. So I sent all the board members the memo from Dr. Schnorr, the superintendent of NSSEO, and her recommendation that as part of the strategic plan process that NSSEO underwent to make a governance change in the structure of the governance for NSSEO. Currently, there's a governing board made up of a board member from each of the 8 member districts that operates similar to how our board operates. And the idea of going to a changed 2-tier system is to bring in an operations board, a board made up of the superintendents of the member districts that would act under OMA because it's a governing board, or not an operations board in this case, and they would be brought in because they're the experts on what our students need at NSSEO, and to bring them closer to the organization, because it's supposed to be a cooperative, not an independently run organization. And the idea, at least from my perspective, is NSSEO has needs to make changes. It has facilities needs that are ongoing. It has to deal with changes in necessary programming. So as the needs of each school district change, what they need for their students placed into NSSEO has changed over the years. And so getting the superintendents involved in that more directly is an important part of proper governance for the NSSEO. The governing board would still remain and need to approve the budget and meet half as often as it does now, but the operations board would streamline the process. So if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to.
Mr. Fiorito, do you want to add anything? You were in on this process when they did the strategic plan?
I'm just thankful that we're finally getting to that point we should have been at like 6 to 9 months ago. But I do want to ask a couple of questions. Was there a group that came up with some of the changes? Because when I left, they had not considered themselves to be, they were calling it like a committee or something else, and so I noticed that change. And I also noticed it looked like they're starting to cut back a little bit on the operating board number of meetings. So I just want to know if you have any information on that.
I don't necessarily have insight into why those changes have happened. I think it comes largely from Dr. Schnorr's discussions with the superintendents about what they feel that operating board needs to contribute, and when there are milestones throughout the year where there are things that need to be approved. So, you don't necessarily have to meet every single month, but there will be months where operations are, being decided on, and those have to happen faster. And I think what it does is it sort of removes a game of telephone that happens now where the information is shared at a governing board meeting. It goes to the local representative speaks to the superintendent speaks to whatever department they need to, and then it has to go back through to make that information known. And there are decisions that often need to be made faster than that.
Yeah. Thanks, Joe.
Dr. Rowe, do you want to add anything?
No, I think Dr. Sager's covered it. We've talked about it pretty extensively. I would encourage you, if you have not watched the video that Dr. Schnorr was included in Dr. Sager's email. It explains the rationale why and why her recommendation is what it is. I think she hit it spot on, and I think this will be a productive move. And just as Dr. Sager said, NSSEO is a cooperative. It's not a standalone school district. It's been operating as a standalone school district for many years. This is intended to provide additional supports and quicker action. So I'm excited about the opportunity to work more closely with Dr. Schnorr and her team to help the support system for our neediest students in our collective school district.
Dr. Rowe, we passed an agreement a few months ago with NSSEO. And how does this fit into what we're talking about tonight?
An agreement with an SSEO. We passed a resolution
Resolution.
charging an SSEO to make this change.
Yes.
And actually, it
okay.
wasn't to make the change, it was more a reflection of our resolution urged in SSEO representatives like Dr. Sager has done and Mr. Fiorito has done. District 214 has been the model for that, of ensuring that their vote is reflective of the entire board, not as an individual.
Dr. Sager, what's the timeline with this, with the other districts?
So so the next step would be at the September 3rd NSSEO Governing Board meeting, the next one, that the governing board would pass the draft Articles of Agreement, which has the modification to the governance structure. And it's not passing it officially. What it does is it transmits it to the member boards. And then there has to be a 90-day review period. This is written into the current Articles of Agreement, where the boards then have 90 days to decide to pass it. If a majority do, then it becomes operational.
So December, it sounds like.
Yes, with the goal of, I believe, the new structure starts in January. so,
January,
yeah.
okay,
It should be on our agenda for your vote to approve on December 11th.
okay.
So all I need now is confirmation that, hey, I should make sure it gets transmitted to us officially. I've already given you the draft, but it
I support it.
Anyone not support it? Okay, so to your knowledge, is every district supposed to send these talk about these draft articles with their boards of education?
Yes, so the idea would be once we do our September 3rd transmission of the articles, then each member district, so all the 8 member districts should have at one of their meetings a discussion of it, and we'll have to choose to vote on it.
Okay, I just want to be clear, the process.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Hey, Bill, we're done before 10. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
It's only because we started at 6:30.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Fiorito,
Yes.
Chung,
Yes.
Baldino,
Yes.
Dustling,
Yes.
Heineman,
Aye.
Sager,
Aye.
Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion
We are-
carries 7-0.
Thank you. We are adjourned.